In this section, we're going to look at Ansible roles. If you have worked with any other programming languages or scripts, you probably know that you could write a large script or program in a single file, or what is more preferred is to modularize it into packages, modules, classes, and functions. That way, our code becomes more organized, reusable, and easy to read and build upon and share with others. This is implemented in Ansible with the help of roles. Now, obviously, we don't have any code, or at least what we have seen so far, there are no programs or classes or functions. What we do have are inventory files, variables, and playbooks. Now, as you would have imagined by now, when we have too many things to automate, our playbooks, inventory files, variables are going to get bigger and more difficult to manage. So unlike what we have been doing so far, writing a single large playbook may not be ideal in that case. That's where include statements and roles come into play. Let's take a look at include statements first with a really simple example. Here we have a large playbook doing multiple things at once, including provisioning VMs, installing required dependencies, configuring web server, and setting up and starting applications. However, this playbook is approximately 1,500 lines long and is really difficult to maintain. This playbook can only be used by someone who has the exact use case which will be satisfied by this playbook. In order to modularize it, we simply cut this large playbook into smaller files that address different use cases, and then finally have a master playbook that includes these smaller playbooks. The syntax for that is the include keyword followed by the playbook name. Now our master playbook is just 5 lines long. We have 4 separate playbooks that are smaller, easier to maintain, and that can be reused for different use cases. How about including tasks and variables? Here we have an Ansible playbook with a list of variables and tasks that use those variables. We can move all tasks to a separate file and use the include statement to include tasks from that file. Similarly, we can move all variables to a separate file and include all variables from that file using the vars files statement. Note that here we don't use the include statement. It is called vars_files. Vars_files is what we use for including variables defined in another file. Now, we have been creating inventory files and defining variables and writing playbooks as we thought was fit for our needs. But is there a standard way to these? What does Ansible recommend? Ansible roles define a structure for your project and define standards on how files and folders are organized within your project. In this example, under my Ansible project, I currently have an inventory file and a single large playbook to set up my web server end-to-end. Now, with roles, we are going to reorganize the playbook and variables. We create a new folder called role, within which we create another folder with the name of the role, in this case, web servers. The web server roles contains additional folders named file, templates, tasks, handlers, vars, defaults, and meta. Each of these folders contains files associated with those purposes. For example, the task folder contains YAML file containing list of tasks, and the vars folder contains var files defined with variable declarations. Now we can move parts of our playbook to different folders. We move the variables into a file in the vars folder, and we move tasks into a file in the tasks folder. Now in our master playbook, we could simply say assign the following roles to the server. And the role is web servers, which is the role we created under the roles folder. One of the advantages of using roles is that we do not have to worry about importing tasks and variables like we did in the previous slide. Ansible automatically imports all tasks from the task folder and all variables from the vars folder. The other folders are for storing supporting files or templates or handlers or defaults that we haven't covered in this course. These are out of scope for this fundamental course, and this will be included in an advanced course.